Hello and welcome to Tea is Good, Books Are Better, the podcast where we drink tea and talk about books. I'm Raven.
I'm Jess.
This is episode 88.
Oh.
And we will be discussing the, what would you call it? The, Seraphina extra content.
Oh, yeah.
Did you forget about that?
No. I just didn't know what you're talking about. Seraphina?
Yes. Seraphina extra content. But before that, Merry belated Christmas, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Merry belated.
Yeah, we did not put out an episode on Christmas. This one will be coming out on... Oh, this one's coming out on New Year's Day, so Happy New Year's as well.
Woo!
Dang. Okay, so how was your Christmas, Jess?
It was okay. I was drunk.
Nice. Tell me more.
I made the mulled wine, and damn, it was potent.
Potent?
It was strong. One mug, and I'm like, whoa.
Well, you drank a mug of mulled wine?
Yeah, because mulled wine is hot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I put it in the slow cooker. A bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon, because it's higher percentage in alcohol than other wine.
Oh,
and
I
then
didn't know that.
Half cup of brandy.
How was it?
It was tasty.
Could you taste the alcohol, though?
Yes. But it was still really good.
Okay. Well,
and it did the job.
Maybe next year you'll be able to make it again and we'll both get drunk.
I'll bring a slow cooker to wherever you guys are living, I guess, if you guys do move out.
Yeah, we'll definitely move out. Did you get anything cool? Any cool gifts?
I would say my favorite gift is the vacuum Mom got me.
Mom got you a vacuum?
Yeah. Yeah, because we got a new carpet.
Oh. Where?
It's pretty nice. In Abbotsford, at the mall, they had a carpet shop, and Johnny was lured in.
Okay.
Then we end up spontaneously buying a smallish one.
Like a rug?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. Did you put it in the living room?
I did.
Nice.
It's very nice looking. Juices up the place a little. Thinks it looked good. And it needs a vacuuming.
What type of vacuum did Mom get you?
It's a smallish handheld one.
Cute.
It's called Pet Perfect for getting cat hairs or pet hairs.
Yes.
Which
does Bonnie shed a lot?
Yes.
Okay.
She does.
I don't know.
Every time I pet her, I'm like pulling a bunch of hair off.
I see.
I don't want her eating her hairs because then she starts vomiting.
Ew. Is this a really boring conversation? Let's talk about vacuums.
Hey, vacuums. How about you?
What about me?
Anything special during your Christmas?
Well, Jake and I went to Mom's because she's like in our bubble.
Yeah.
And surprise, Eric was there.
Oh, Eric was there?
Yeah. So there's that. We just like sat on the couch and watched 3 Christmas movies in a row.
Oh. No longer jealous.
Yeah, it was very chill and relaxed. And I was like just very sleepy the whole day for some reason.
Same with me and Johnny. Johnny napped.
Yeah, I was like falling asleep on the couch the whole time.
Well, Mom's place is super hot. And that makes you sleepy.
Yeah, we would like get really hot and then I would start shedding clothes and then open the door. And then it would get really cold and then we'd close the door. Or I'd put the clothes back on and then we'd close the door. And then it'd get really hot again. I'd shed clothes again. Then we'd open the door. It was like so annoying. Yeah. Let's see, what did I get? I got a lot of Harry Potter stuff from Jake's family.
Are you going through a Harry Potter craze right now?
particularly. I think he just told them that I'm into Harry Potter, which isn't wrong. There are
I guess.
things that I'm more into, but I'm into Harry Potter.
Okay.
They got me like a Harry Potter character compendium, so it has like it lists every single character that ever makes an appearance in
Whoa.
any Harry Potter franchise thing.
Wow.
Yeah, there's like 99% characters I've never heard of. But it should be interesting to dig through.
Sure.
Yeah. I also got, oh, they got me some Harry Potter makeup brushes, which is like really cool because the handles are like the wands.
Okay, I was gonna ask.
Yeah, they're really sick. They're like heavy metal and they feel really good
Oh.
quality. Yeah,
Ooh.
so that's really cool. Um,
Hmm.
and then Jake got me a Harry Potter cookbook.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so we can like make meals that appear in the Harry Potter
Ooh.
universe.
Pumpkin juice.
Possibly. I haven't looked for pumpkin juice in there, but I did look for butterbeer and that was not in there, so that was slightly disappointing.
Dude. Well, you can find that online.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
Hmm.
And then I got a shit ton of chocolate.
Kind of sick of chocolate. So much chocolate.
Yeah, it's a lot. And you got me the some tea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got me
Are you
the
drinking it?
Zydeco Teaco, and I am drinking it today.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm drinking the Mission Chill one that you were drinking a couple episodes
Mm,
ago.
so good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm jealous.
Did you run out?
Yeah, I go through those in a week.
Now I have it and you
So good.
don't. It's actually really nice.
Yeah, it's good freaking tea.
It hits the spot.
Did you get little flowers in there? Like the little chamomile flowers?
Yeah, they're like the little yellowish bulb things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes you might get a few petals still attached.
very cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely smells like fresh and strong.
Yeah.
Mmm, that shit's good. Thank you for the tea. Very
You're
lovely.
welcome.
And you also got me deodorant, and I was like, all right, I get it.
Because you stink.
Yeah, you said it was because I was complaining about how when I use deodorant as opposed to antiperspirant, it always makes, like, I always stink anyway. Or like sweat and
Mm-hmm.
stink and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I
You
was
little.
very appreciative that you remembered that and found me some deodorant that works for you. And I've definitely seen like ads for this one all over the place.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
I got
everywhere.
yeah, podcasts for me.
Yeah.
His one guy is talking about his favorite, it's like it changed his life. I'm like, I don't know if he's getting paid to say this, but I'll trust him.
He said it changed his life, so.
Like, he'll never go through another deodorant again. I'm like, ooh.
So I'm excited to try that. I haven't started using it yet. And then what else did you get me? Oh, you got me those adorable like fox gloves, which
Oh
are so comfy, and I
yeah.
love them. Where did you get those from?
My work.
Oh,
And
cool.
Johnny bought them.
Oh, Johnny bought them?
Yeah.
Aw.
Hmm.
Thank you. They were
Remember we
very
got
lovely.
them last year and they sold out like instantly as
Ooh,
soon as they went up. So I got my hands on them.
nice.
Yeah.
Smart. Did they still sell out instantly when they went up?
Not this year.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, we still have a bunch.
Maybe because people aren't going out as much. So they're like, I don't know
Yeah.
to dress warm.
Hmm.
And you said you've been wearing the hoodie I got you.
Oh, yeah, the pink fuzzy one. I wore it all weekend. I felt super cute. Um, oh, I saw you on Saturday.
You saw me at
Yeah, at work. Were you at work? Pretty sure you were at work.
yeah, I was.
Yeah, I saw you.
What were you doing at I mean, it was Boxing Day, I guess that's why you were there.
I just wanted Lush products.
They never have sales. Did they have any sales?
Yeah, some of their stuff is half off, 50% off.
What the fuck? I remember a couple years ago I went to Lush on Boxing Day and they were like, yeah, all our stuff is organic and handmade, so we don't have sales on it. And I was like, okay.
Oh man.
Like
Yeah.
pretentious much? Damn.
Maybe because of the pandemic they weren't selling as much. So they want to get some stuff out.
Ooh, that's possible.
Like the Christmas stuff was pretty much on sale, and the Christmas gift boxes were on sale for half off.
Right. And I feel like maybe it's harder for people to justify buying Lush stuff because,
Oh
like,
yeah.
when you go in, you can't smell it because you have to wear your mask. So you don't even know if it, like, smells nice.
Yeah.
You have to just wing
It
it.
was a gamble.
Like, you can hold it up to your mask, but you don't really smell it anyway.
No. No, it has to be like really strong to smell
Mm-hmm.
anything.
And, like,
Mhm.
some of the things are, sure, and you'll smell it through your mask, but most of the stuff, like, no.
The whole place smells, so it's hard to pick out a smell through the smell.
Exactly.
um,
Cool.
I
What
got
did you see me doing?
You were having an intense conversation with someone on the till. You look pretty stern,
Oh.
but it's probably just your resting bee face.
Oh, well, thank you. Was it an employee or a customer?
An employee.
Oh.
Like someone was on till, and it's like you were like leaning and like talking with them, and there's a customer in front of her. So I don't know if they were like talking to you for help or something.
Oh yeah, I was probably just helping them with something.
Hmm. Johnny, afterwards, he was like, "Oh God, you should have taken a Snapchat of her and sent it to her."
That would have been funny.
Yeah, kind of regretted it. I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, I would have seen that. Wait, what time were you there?
In the morning, ish.
Okay,
Wait,
but what time?
it was probably around 11 or noon. We left around,
Okay.
I think, one or two. Yeah, we got tuckered out pretty fast.
Yeah, and it's like people at the malls just don't give a fuck about COVID anymore. Like, sure, they're wearing their
No.
masks because they have to, but they're like coming right up in your face.
Social distancing is not a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they should have like security there screaming 6 feet apart.
Yeah. I was very uncomfortable a lot of the time that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, let's not delve into that too much because I will.
Get angry.
I'll get angry. I'll get
Rage.
upset. Tell me about your New Year's plans, if you have any.
I don't.
Nothing at all.
I have some weed gummies that a coworker gave me for a small amount of money,
Okay.
and I will be eating those, or maybe just two for a good
Nice.
time.
Do you have New Year's Day off?
Yes.
Nice. Most
Yeah.
people do. I have New Year's Eve off, but not New Year's Day. So.
Oh my god.
Right?
That is the worst.
Yeah.
Like a sick joke.
And I work early on New Year's Day too, so I like can't even stay up till midnight.
Oh my god. Well, I can't anyways because I'm an old person. I was invited to two like Zoom parties.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, maybe I can play until 10, but I'm too old to stay up till midnight. I can't do it.
Like I'll be going to one of those, or going virtually to one of those Zoom parties. But yeah, I won't be staying past like 10:30.
Yeah.
Gotta hit the sack. Get my 5 hours of sleep.
I don't even have Zoom. That's something I gotta get.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't have it. And I don't have a camera, so I'll just be like the voice.
Well, can't you like set up your phone to do it somehow?
Oh yeah, we're talking to Johnny about that and just like taping it on the wall above my computer.
Yeah, you can do that. Well, sounds like we kind of have similar New Year's plans then.
Yeah.
Go to a virtual party and bounce early.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into Seraphina.
Ooh.
All right. Do you want to start with the audition, or do you still want to start with like?
Let's do the audition and then like the questions. I feel like
Okay, yeah, that makes sense to
questions would be
me.
a good conclusion.
Cool, cool, cool. All right,
Cool, cool.
so the audition. Some context as to what this is. It's like an extra chapter, I guess you could call it,
Hmm.
that shows the audition that Fina has to go through to get her job as the assistant to the court composer.
Radius.
Yes, which is something that she already has the job at the start of the book.
Yeah, she mentioned briefly in the beginning of the book the her audition to get the job and like slightly how it went, but
I don't remember reading that part.
I think she mentioned it. It was a very slight thought.
Right. Okay. All right, let's get into it. So, Seraphina, the audition.
Ooh.
Fina wants some moral support when she goes for her audition for the assistant for the court composer. So, Orma is her only option since her father would try to stop her. She's been sneaking out through her bedroom window to do these auditions, by the way. So, has she been climbing back in through her window as well?
Guess so. That's weird.
And, like, are these in the super early morning when no one's going to notice that she's not there?
Probably.
So one autumn afternoon, Fina and Orma climb Castle Hill together, but Fina decides to send him back. It's her final day of auditions, and he hasn't been particularly helpful with his criticisms during the past few days. I can totally imagine. He's like, you could have done better.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, okay, thanks, Orma. When they reach the Barbican Gate, Barbican, I don't know how to say that.
Eh.
I'm gonna look it up. I'm actually curious. A barbican, by the way, is the outer defense of a castle.
Ah.
Barbican.
Barbican. Okay, that's right. Okay. So when they reach the Barbican Gate, Fina thanks him and says that today she is merely giving Princess Griselda her music lesson and says that won't interest Orma, and she's sure he has other work to see to. Orma says she's one of 3 finalists and she was the most inexperienced and the only female out of 27. He initially put her odds at 1 in 1,500. Is that mathematically accurate?
I don't think I'd be the best person.
Right.
I want to say no, but I don't really know that much about math anymore.
Yeah, I guess.
Ever.
Would it only be 1 in 27 if there were no other variables to consider?
Asking the wrong person.
Yeah, I have no idea. Math is not my strong suit. I can't even do basic math.
The struggle is real.
I feel like I can. I have the capability of doing basic math, but when I'm like put on the spot, my brain freezes. And we've talked about this before.
Definitely. I was good at it when I worked at Tim Hortons, basic addition and subtraction, because our system kept crashing, and we have like a huge lineup, we have a time limit, so I just learned how to do the math in my head to give change back to people. And I got really fast at it, but now that I'm no longer using it, I lost the ability.
Oh, interesting.
And I'm just too lazy to relearn it.
Well,
It's something I have to challenge myself every day to get that good again.
It's, yeah, it would have to take, I imagine it would be like constant practice doing it all the time. But Orma says he now sees Fina has a 12% chance of becoming Master Viridius's assistant. Fina tries not to be offended, so Orma still wants to come with her as these are the best odds she's faced yet. 12%. So they head in and make it to Viridius's office. And Viridius is described as having claw-like hands wrapped in bandages and knees and feet that are grossly swollen. What the fuck is that all about?
Sounds like arthritis.
Yeah,
with the hand part.
Was he described this way in the book? Like in the actual novel?
I don't remember.
Me neither, because I was like,
any description of him other than he's like constantly laying on the couch or whatever.
Right. Viridius says she will go third as she was late and tells her to wait in the antechamber. The lute master follows a page boy to wherever Princess Griselda awaits her music lesson, and the rest of them head into the antechamber. So there's Orma, Fina, and the troubadour, who is the other, what would you call it? Auditionee. Orma takes notes as they wait. Fina eventually peeks at them and sees he's written books to look for in the Queen's private library. Fina's like, yo, you can't go in there. But he says it's for her. She'll have access when she gets the job.
Nice excuse.
Fina was like, you said I have a 12% chance, dude. And he says that's only if she doesn't do anything unpredictable. There's a 68% chance she'll surprise him. I imagine that getting so annoying.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck you're saying.
Right? Like, he tells you one thing, you have a 12% chance of making it, and you're like, alright, fuck you. And then later on, he's like, you have a 68% chance of surprising me, and I think you're gonna get the job. Like, you're so annoying. Yeah. An hour later, the lute master returns, angry and blackened from head to toe. He marches into Master Verdius's office, says he withdraws his name from consideration, and then stalks out, leaving a cloud of coal dust behind him.
I was like, what the fuck?
It's like, what the fuck did Griselda do to him?
Yeah.
The page boy returns and takes the troubadour with him. Fina spies Master Viridius through the door the lute master left open, and he says to her that the lute master was an idiot. He never even gave the princess her lesson because he got lost down a coal chute. But,
what the fuck?
Like, how does that happen? But Verdius also refers to Griselda as, quote, the brat. Viridius then closes his door, and Fina is now more nervous than ever. She turns to Orma, but he is gone. Minutes later, the page boy returns and asks if she's with Orma, and says he said she'd help him. He gives her directions to find him, so Fina rushes up the corridor, takes a corner, and runs into a girl standing on a chair. She screams and almost drops the bucket she's holding. She's golden-haired, about 15. She hands Fina the reeking bucket, saying she might as well help her. Fina tries to resist, saying she's looking for her music teacher, but she says he's fine. He tripped over her too, but she sent him on his way. Fina looks in the bucket, and it's filled with a brown ooze that smells of fish. Fina asks what to do with it, and the girl tells her to address her as Your Highness. I just realized we forgot to talk about tea.
Oh, I was gonna remind you when you were done.
Fuck. Okay, really quick, what are you drinking? What are we drinking today, Jess?
Pew, 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 pew. What kind of tea have you been drinking?
Alright, so I'm drinking a chai flavored green tea.
Chai flavored green tea? What the hell?
Tea flavored green tea. It's just green tea that has a bit of a spice to it.
Interesting.
It's alright. It's cheap Walmart tea.
Oh, it's not that great.
I've had better.
I see.
As I stare wistfully at Sadako tea.
Yeah, we already know what I'm drinking.
Sadako.
Alright, cool. On to the story. So, Fina realizes this girl must be Princess Griselda. Fina introduces herself, and the princess explains that she is setting a trap for her last prospective music tutor. So this bucket of ooze is for Seraphina. Fina asks why, and Griselda says she hates all the finalists equally on principle. She hasn't even met any of them. She sent the lute master on a wild goose chase that ended with a trip down the coal chute.
Alright.
Fina asks what happened to the troubadour, and Griselda says she'll show her. She leads Fina into a small study, and they look out the window, which overlooks a garden and hedge maze. Fina can see the troubadour picking his way through the maze. What are these pranks? Fina says she should have given him a chance, but Griselda says she and Viridius are at war, and they both watch together as the troubadour disappears out in the maze, as if he fell down a hole or something. Fina asks what Griselda intends to do with the fermented fish heads, and the princess says it symbolizes how unpalatable she finds the idea of music instruction. She shall spill it on the final villain, but they must hurry before he walks in. he. So Fina thinks that maybe she can salvage this and give Griselda a lesson by stealth. Because Griselda clearly thinks the last finalist is a he. So Fina helps Griselda set up the trap and points out that it's visible, so she will need a distraction so he doesn't notice it. She suggests playing her instrument in his line of sight. Griselda's like, I think not! Then leads Fina into a side room with a harpsichord. Griselda says it's Viridius's and he won't let her touch it, not since she filled it with frogs. I just imagine Griselda picking her way through like a rainy day gathering frogs.
I can see her doing
The
that.
servants looking out the window like, that's the princess.
Yep.
Fina sits at the harpsichord and plays a light tune and guesses that Viridius has Griselda playing the dulcimer, which is a type of string instrument. And Fina makes a joke that there's a reason it's called a dulcimer, which makes Griselda exclaim that she made that exact joke, but that Viridius had told her it's the easiest instrument to learn and she was tone deaf. Bruh, savage.
Yeah.
But Griselda isn't interested in music at all, so Fina asks what she is interested in. She expects her to say gowns or balls or boys, but Griselda says statecraft.
Oh, that's interesting.
Fina says music isn't irrelevant to statecraft. Griselda looks unconvinced, but Fina explains. Music teaches you about harmony, resolving tension, and finding balance, like a diplomat must do. Fina keeps playing, and Griselda starts paying attention. She eventually asks Fina to show her what she's doing, so Fina teaches her the melody. She doesn't catch on right away, but she concentrates and works at it. Then there's a crash and shout from the next room. They run through to see Master Viridius covered in the fish goo. Yeah, that's fucking gnarly. Fina goes to help him and he asks, how was she? Griselda responds that she was superior to him. And Fina realizes the question was directed at Griselda and not at Fina. And the princess brags that she played his harpsichord. Fina whirls on Griselda and says she knew she was the candidate all along. Griselda's like, duh. Diplomacy is only part of statecraft. There's also spying. And then she leaves. Fina helps.
Cute.
Yeah. Fina helps Viridius to a chair and he explains that Griselda told him she was the only one who would be given a chance. Then he congratulates her on getting the job and hobbles away. Why do you think Griselda only wanted to give Fina a chance?
Remember, I think she mentioned that she only wanted. Oh, she was open to the idea that she was a woman. But maybe she was looking for someone who wouldn't remind her of Viridius or wouldn't have Viridius's meanness. And she was like, a woman would be nicer.
Right.
Maybe.
Possibly. I don't really remember. Then Orma shows up and Fina says that Griselda must have sent the page boy to call him away and then lure her up here after him. Orma doesn't know what she's talking about. He says he received a personal invitation to the Queen's private library. So Fina realizes Griselda must have been listening to their conversation in the antechamber, doing her little spying thing. Orma seems satisfied that Fina got the job and is perplexed his calculations were so far off, especially since he can predict that she'll surprise him. Fina feels a sudden affection for him and hugs him. And she feels something hard and rectangular under his shirt. Orma says he didn't have a chance to finish the book he started, but that won't be a problem. Since Fina got the job, she can just return it for him when he's done, and Fina laughs. And that's it. That's the audition.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
It's alright, I guess. I don't know why she included it. Maybe she just really wanted to tell the story.
Yeah.
With Zelda.
I question what exactly it adds.
Yeah.
And I would argue not much, which is probably why it's not in the actual novel.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder did she write this before, after, or during her writing of the novel? Maybe she did write it like as part of the novel, like at the beginning, but then the publishers told her to cut it or something. I can see that.
I wonder.
And what made her want to write this specifically?
I think, didn't I read something in here that explains why she wanted to add it?
Did you?
I think I might have.
Oh, I
Possibly.
totally forgot to go through like the Q&A, but let's take a quick peek.
I mean, we can go through the Q&A in a bit, but I think I read somewhere, unless I'm making it up.
Maybe she did. But we can go through that in a minute. I get it though, because I'm currently working on a novel that I'd love to write extra content for, like kind of like this, because there's stuff that I think is just would be like fun to write, and if I think if it's fun to write, it would be fun to read. So, but like it doesn't really have a place in the like story.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying. Doesn't really fit. So, yeah, I would totally like write it as extra content and then have them included in the back of the novel if possible, or like post it on my website or whatever. If I ever got this novel published.
I think fans would love that.
Yeah, like I guess it's like you've got the extreme end of things, which is like Harry Potter and Pottermore, like this whole website that's like all extra Harry Potter content. And then there's like this sort of extra content version, which is just like a few pages at the back of the book.
Mm-hmm.
I think fans would definitely appreciate any extra content, extra sneak peeks into the world, just like a chance to kind of dip back into the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's cool. I definitely get why she would want to write it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the audition.
What else are we looking at other than the Q&A?
There's discussion questions as well, I think.
Is that the Q&A?
No.
What? I don't have discussion questions.
Discussion questions, page 477. You don't have that?
477?
Mm-hmm. It comes right before the Q&A.
I have the... No, I just have the Q&A.
Oh, what the hell?
Interesting.
Interesting.
Because my 477 is part of the Q&A.
Oh. Okay, let's go over the Q&A and then... Because I totally, like, messaged you about... Write down some thoughts you have about those discussion questions, or
I
whatever.
thought we were talking about the Q&A.
Yeah, I guess that's what you thought. Oh, that's funny. Okay, let's do the Q&A then.
This question. Seraphina is full of remarkable characters and concepts. Where do you get your ideas? And she's like, where don't I get my ideas?
I do like the metaphor she uses. That she's imagined her mind as a fishing net, and as she goes about her day, ideas just kind of collect in the net. And then she'll kind of like fish through them later. Pun intended. She'll fish through them later, and then kind of like, most of the ideas don't turn out to be anything, but there's some that are like, this has potential.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that relatable?
For sure, yeah. I'll see a photo like online of like a really cool scene, like earth porn type of thing, and I'll be like, that would be like sick to have in a book somehow, or in a story somehow. Or like someone will say something that I'm like, that's makes me think, and I'm like, that would be a thought-provoking thing to say for X character in this moment. And yeah, lots of things like that. And she said when she was dealing with her parents' divorce, she had an idea. What if you married someone with a secret and you didn't learn about it until it was too late? I wonder what happened between her parents.
Yeah, I want to know this. Drama.
And she said that was the very first inkling of what would eventually grow into Seraphina.
Yeah, so I guess this story has been with her for a while.
And I've always been taught in school that speculative fiction is asking those what if questions. So this is like one of those what if questions. What if you married someone with a secret?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's think with that.
Yeah. And obviously like fantasy and horror and sci-fi, they all fall under the speculative fiction umbrella. So if you think about any story, pretty much, it'll have a what if question. Any speculative fiction story.
Ooh. I'll keep that in mind. Ooh.
Something to think about. And they often have several what if questions as well. Like an easy one for Harry Potter would be like, what if wizards existed? Bam! There you go. Harry Potter, bitch.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Is there something that inspires you to turn such ideas into stories? I'm trying to summarize the first paragraph, but I'm struggling.
Okay, the question is there something that inspires you to turn such ideas into stories?
Uh-huh. And then she's
I think, yeah, she's talking about how what she wants to do as a writer is kind of give a vivid experience to the reader.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of her goal and inspiration, is to create that feeling for the reader, or that like experience or whatever it is.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. And she says that fantasy excites her. It can be terrific laboratory for thought experiments. For example, what if dragons could transform into humans? You can entertain the strangest ideas and then follow them through to their logical conclusions. What could be more fun? And I completely agree with that.
Me too.
But also, she's all like, part of what motivates me as a writer is to do the same for readers. And she talked about like vividly recording an experience or whatever. It might be as simple as the feeling I get walking down the street under wet trees, the drizzle on my face, my dog tugging the leash, clarinet music drifting down from a window above. Okay, but apparently not describing what a cool-ass dragon looks like. Slightly bothered by her answer there, and I'm like, couldn't you fucking write a description for a dragon?
She couldn't imagine a cool dragon, so she let us do it ourselves. I like the idea of playing with fantasy without staying with the same rules, because I feel like a lot of fantasy usually does stay with the same rules.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So I like that she like changed it. I also like mentioned like Game of Thrones kind of twists it a little bit, but making it more political than bow magic and Fantasia.
What's great about Game of Thrones that I think we've probably said before, and is not my original idea, it's something I read somewhere, that it does follow all those like stereotypical fantasy tropes, but then when it like is reaching the conclusion, it'll flip it on its head. So I forget the example. There was like a really good example that I'm not remembering now. Fuck. Well, there you go. There's your content to think about. Can you think of an example in Game of Thrones that follows the fantasy trope but then like turns it upside down? Oh, I think maybe one of them was like the woman being sold to some barbaric man or whatever.
I like that the women aren't just there for men to save and be heroes. I feel like that's slightly different, but
yeah, I think that's slightly connected to this trope. Like you would expect when Dany gets sold to Drogo, you would expect her to be all like helpless and hate him and just try to escape over and over and over. But no, what she does is she falls in love with him and she grows power in their relationship and she becomes a queen.
Yeah.
And then she rules over his people.
She took over for him, or tries to, rather than run away with Jorah.
Exactly.
She has her own goals that she's fighting for. Yeah.
So there's one example. Any other thoughts on that one?
I mean, there's like magical creatures. Thinking with the white... God, why do I always call them White Walkers? There's White Walkers. Or the others.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really cool thing that fantasy just gives you the reins that you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, you make up creatures that can do anything that you want them to do. So you create a whole world, and it's super fucking fun.
I guess. Yes, this question. The world of Seraphina is incredibly well realized. When did you first conceive it? And she's like, back in 7th grade,
Damn!
she wrote a narrative poem for English class. And she wrote a long and silly poem called The First Adventure of Sir Amy about a girl knight in a land called Gored.
Mm.
Because it rhymes with Fred, which is the name of her horse. Yeah, and she wrote some myths set in Gored, and then I guess that really helped make Gored into a world in her brain.
Right. Yeah, if you're like mulling that over for like how many years? I don't know how old Rachel Hartman is, but she like
Yeah,
she like had kids and stuff by the time this book came out, so 30s or 40s, I would say.
Yeah, she looks late 30s in this picture.
So if you have that much time to mull over this world, then yeah, it's gonna be pretty well realized.
I had a question for you. Do you have ideas from childhood that you still hold on to?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 1,000%. There's this one. Do you remember when that really cool Final Fantasy trailer came out?
Which one?
The one with Noctis, and he's like in his throne, and then he walks down the stairs, and he's being shot at.
Oh, the one that came out when I was in my teens.
Yeah, you were in your teens.
I was in my late teens, and I was waiting for this game, and it comes out in my late 20s.
Yeah, so that trailer, when that came out, that gave me lots of ideas. And so I would write bits and pieces of something and then kind of give up on it, and then it would slowly evolve in my head, and then I'd write some more and it would slowly evolve, and like things would start adding, and I'd like come up with other ideas and then kind of combine them. And now I'm working on a version of that story. It's like the novel I'm working on right now.
Oh shit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's probably one of the longest running ones that I've had. And yeah, it's something that I've kept leaving and going back to and leaving and going back to. So it clearly, it has something that I am attracted to. So I'm trying to focus on that one right now.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Once you decided to write a novel based on Gored and its characters, how long did it take and what was the process like? I think she says that it took 9 years from inception to publication. That's a long time, but I guess
yeah, it is a long time. I'm not surprised. Like I've worked on whatever story I'm working on for how long now? And yeah, like she says about Seraphina that it took many twists and turns. It started off as a family drama consisting largely of Fina and her father keeping secrets from each other, but then it like kind of expanded and became something else. And yeah, I can totally relate to that as well. Like different potential stories keep coming and like going, and it keeps the story keeps transforming.
Yeah,
and I guess if I'm fucking, how old am I? If I'm 27 now, and I first got the first inkling of an idea for this story, I would have been what, like 14 or 15. So yeah.
damn.
But like actually writing the story as it is, I don't know what exactly she's referring to when she says from inception.
Yeah,
like I don't know if she started writing like right at that time, or like held on to the idea for like a year and molded over or whatever. Like who knows. She says she went through
drafts.
Yeah, I'm sure she had a ton of drafts. She also went through 2 different publishers apparently. I'm curious about what happened there. Yeah. So she clearly had some kind of deal worked out with one publisher, but then somehow fell through. And she said also for a few years she was only able to write during her son's nap times.
Oh no.
So yeah, it wasn't like consistent writing, like yeah, it was leaving and coming back and leaving and coming back and that sort of thing.
Oh man.
Good for her though, for staying like,
yeah, I cannot imagine.
I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but
Going out with the baby.
yeah, she was like dedicated to this story, and I think that's impressive, and I commend her for committing to it. Like, only writing during her son's nap times, you could easily be like, fuck, I can't ever write my story because I have a kid now and I have to take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
But she was like, no, I'm gonna
Yeah.
write while he's asleep.
That's dedication.
Yeah. Next.
The choice to set the world in a medieval time period is interesting, especially with all the saints. Are you a student of the real Middle Ages? I don't think it's that interesting if it's like a fantasy story.
Yeah, that's kind of an odd question.
But she says that she lived in England for a year and she was really fascinated by all of the medieval art, art architecture and literature. Like, just I can see where she's coming from. Like, seeing buildings that are like hundreds of years old must be like crazy if you're from like one of the new worlds, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess that's where she got her idea. Oh, she got the idea for the saint-based religion of Gored when traveling to Ireland. Because they have a bunch of obscure Irish saints, which some people believe were just pagan deities who were converted during the Christian...
That's believable.
when Christianity took over.
Yeah, but you can definitely see how inspiration can come from anywhere.
Yeah, I thought it was very cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty interesting to add such a detailed religion.
Yeah, like, I want to know everything about Saint Gertrudis and why the fuck is she a heretic. Like, I want to know.
Me too. What's going on here?
Right? Like, she doesn't really get into it in this story.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the extra content I want.
Give me that religion.
Yeah. Maybe they get into it more in the second one, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. The story features several strong, intelligent, and independent women. Not only Seraphina, but also Princess Griselda, Dame Okra, and even Under Secretary Iskar. Is that a realistic reflection of our history's medieval past?
Strong, intelligent, and independent women?
What?
Bitch, please. They only started existing in the last decade.
So she says that she found an inspiring book called Women in the Medieval Town by Erica Utz, who shows how medieval women were actually far more involved than is generally supposed, especially in business.
That is so typical to erase that from history, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
well, history is told by men.
Yeah, and be like, you know, women, they just, like, stayed at home and churned the butter or whatever. Yeah. And, like, we understand, too, that, like, in caveman days, the men were, like, the hunters, and the women were, like, the child protectors and the gatherers, and it's like, no, if you actually do your research, the women were out there hunting, too.
And we're learning about, briefly, I think it was Viking women who handled finances of the house.
Well, that's really interesting.
Thought that was pretty cool. Why don't they teach that?
Because it's so, yeah, it's honestly, like, I think what happens is there'll be, like, a record of it or something, and when it gets translated, it's, like, when it's a male translator, you know, they'll, like, twist a word here and there. Instead of, like, writing the woman, they'll put, like, the whore or something like that. It's, like, so typical.
I know that happened with the Bible. In medieval ages, the monks would change certain sections that they didn't agree with to make it more with what they believed at the time.
Yeah. Like, I read I think it was a Reddit thread pretty recently about a woman who was doing a translation from, like, a really old record, and that had already been translated multiple times by different men. But she found that when she was translating it, these translations that were already done by these men were, like, not accurate. They were changing words like women and putting it like whore instead, and, like,
Jesus Christ,
stuff like that. So it's a thing.
It's a thing, unfortunately. Okay, talk about the dragons in the story. Where did the idea come from for them to be able to take human form? What about their struggle with human emotions and sensations?
That's definitely like super unique.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever read anything like it.
Oh yeah, I think it was here where she mentioned that she is bad at drawing dragons, and she's bad at imagining them.
Oh.
So that's why she didn't describe them as much and describe them better as humans, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah, she says that when she was drawing her dragon characters back when she wrote that comic book about Gored, like when she was a kid, she was bad at drawing the dragons, so she was like, they can turn into humans, just so she could draw people instead. And be like, yeah, that's a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. And also reminds me of Supernatural. You know how all like the monsters and whatever would always just be humans?
Yeah.
Wasn't that was such lazy bullshit? They'd be like, "Oh, the dragons," and it would just be like a person.
I think they just didn't have the budget.
Well, yeah, that's obviously why, but it's
They didn't want like the shitty frick brain fart
CGI.
CGI. Yeah, I feel like shitty CGI is a lot worse.
But it happens so often. It was like
every episode.
Oh, the demon. Oh, it's a human. Oh, the dragon. Oh, it's a human. Oh, the what are those things called?
What?
The Wendigo. Oh, it's just a person.
Oh, that guy was actually at
a person with sharp teeth.
Okay.
Ooh.
He had like he had weird skin and like really long claws and such.
Okay, fine. I'll give them that one. But it happened a lot.
Remember the dragons?
Yeah, I remember them like just crouching around and like it's just a person
with wings.
It's just like wearing these bouncy wings. I want to watch Supernatural again. Do you remember that time when we watched like 12 episodes of Supernatural in one day?
Yeah, we no, it was a whole season.
Oh, okay. Is that not 12 episodes?
I think it was more.
Okay.
It was a whole season, all day, and we got screamed at when Mom got home for being lazy.
That was funny.
I haven't touched Supernatural in years.
Same. I kind of want to like watch it again, but there's so much shit that I need to watch and rewatch and whatever.
I feel like I'll only go as far as season 5, the end of season 5, I think. I feel like I should have ended right there.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen anything past that, so I wouldn't know.
Well, it just derails.
Oh, yikes.
I think I got as far as season 8, and I was like, God, this is getting difficult to watch.
I guess, yeah, at some point it became a meme that, like, they kept dying and, like, resurrecting each other, and it just started becoming, like, really goofy and didn't hold any meaning anymore, like, anytime they died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it just, like, it lost all its storytelling power type of thing.
No, they just kept going because of the fans.
Yeah.
They kept getting views, so they kept going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they are over now.
Yeah, finally done. Like, season fucking 15 or some shit. I don't know.
Was it? I still remember when the first season came out. I was so excited.
Really?
I'd never seen horror before, like, something like that. But I had to go to bed halfway through because my bedtime was 9:30. But I can only watch a half hour of each episode for having to go to bed.
Wow. And yeah, there's literally 15 seasons.
Damn.
Fucking holy shit. This has to be one of the longest running shows.
I would have been 14 when the first season came out.
It came out in 2005.
Yep, that's 14. Hey, that's when YouTube came out, isn't it?
I have no idea. Is it? Anyway.
14 or 15 when YouTube became a thing.
Dang. We're old as fuck.
Numa yay.
What? Oh, yeah, that. I remember that.
That old ass video.
Good times.
Where am I?
Enough of that tangent.
I talk about the dragons again? Did I? I already did that one. Seraphina's Guardian of Grotesques is another fascinating element of the story. Where did that idea come from? an ancient mnemonic, that is not how you pronounce it,
I
device.
think just mnemonic.
Mnemonic?
Mnemonic?
Mnemonic device known as the Memory Palace. So the idea is that you create like a palace and you memorize the layout, and like each room is a something you want to remember, I think. It's basically like a strategy to remember things.
Yeah, and she also says that it struck her how much the concept resembled her writer's mind, which is so full of places and people.
Mm-hmm.
And I can also relate to that. I definitely would not say that I have like a palace full of characters in my mind. Like, no. It's more like a void. And they'll like kind of drift into view and then drift out of view. And I think I've said before that sometimes a certain character will just kind of show up in my head. Like a character that I've like known and created before, but they'll just like show up and start like knocking on the inside of my head and being like, okay, can you tell my story now?
That's funny.
Yeah, that happens.
Oh, these remind me of a documentary I saw about humans and our uniqueness, and one went on to memorization and storytelling, and they were talking about some tribes in African countries that still use the practice of this memory stick, where they like put a different thread around a stick, and that thread is a specific tale or story. And that's how they remember things, by putting different like threads or knots, and like each one symbolizes something, and like they can pass down their tribe's history with this memory stick.
What? That's so neat.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if that's somehow related to that like method of remembering by tying a string around your finger.
Yeah, I wonder.
Fascinating.
Seraphina. Seraphina is a compelling character. How much of yourself do you see in her? Or any of the characters? Are any of them modeled after real peoples? So she says she put a lot of herself in Seraphina, and that she a little bit into all of her characters, because she says writing is kind of like being an actor, an exercise in radical empathy.
Yeah, you have to dig deep and find the part of yourself that's a dragon, a musician, or a queen. And yeah, also relatable. You can't like I feel like every character a writer writes, it has elements of them. But I do think it's also very important to remember that a writer's character is not the writer. Like it's happened too many times. Like a good example is Stephen King. He writes very honestly, so he'll often write like racist characters or like sexist or homophobic characters, and they'll say like really terrible, disgusting things, and he'll get like criticism for it. But it's like, yeah, that's the character. Obviously, if he was somehow in the story suggesting that these characters were right in some way, that would be fucked up. But no, that's not what he's doing.
Kind of reminds me of Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
And his nasty characters. But I think it's just because all of his characters are nasty.
Yeah.
His worlds are nasty, but they're good. Good stories. But I guess that's what it's like with King. Is a lot of his characters are nasty people.
And that's what makes for like good tension and conflict and stuff like that a lot of the time. So there's that. And also, like, I've experienced it before as well, where like I've written a character and she did things that were iffy or like made some iffy choices or whatever, and someone who like was close to me at that time like read it and was like really uncomfortable with it, and like said that the character sounded like me, and like that's what made it uncomfortable. And I was like, no, that's you projecting me onto the character. Like that's not, like you can't do that. Do not do that. So important to make that distinction.
Yeah, I agree. Seraphina and Kix talk a lot about philosophy and philosophers. It's an important part of their relationship. Is philosophy important to you in your life? And she says that she likes the philosophy of Epicurus.
I have no idea who that is.
I guess he's I'm assuming he's an ancient Greek philosopher, because that's where a lot of philosophers are. Ancient Greek?
Sure.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either.
And he felt that happiness was the greatest good. And the only things we need to be happy are autonomy, friendship, and time to contemplate our problems.
Hmm.
Yeah. And she thinks that philosophy and art can sometimes be two sides of the same coin, like theoretical and experimental physics.
Ah, okay. That's interesting.
I guess it is type of art, but like thought?
Yeah, she says, art doesn't offer definitive answers. It offers possibilities, more questions, and, at its best, a different lens through which to view the world.
Hmm.
If you find philosophers or anyone else who's smug about having found answers, bring them to art. Art, like a rambunctious toddler, will play with those answers until they break. The theorists, like philosophers, reason themselves into a particular position. The experimentalists, like artists, run those theories through mazes and hit them with rubber chickens to see how they hold up. That's funny.
Have you seen PewDiePie's videos where he talks about his favorite philosophers?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I've seen one video.
I think he has two.
Okay, I think I saw one, but I don't really remember it.
Same. Actually. I even forget. It's the guy who lived like a dog in a barrel.
Yeah. I don't remember what he said about that guy, though.
I thought that was interesting, but yeah, that's most I know about that kind of stuff. Well, those kinds of philosophers.
I don't claim to know anything.
Mm.
Cool, next.
For shiz. What about music? Does it play as large a role in your life as it does Seraphina's? And she's like, yes. When she was 10, she studied this cello?
Yeah.
Okay. Her sisters played string, and they used to play and sing together. Apparently, their favorite type of music was from the Renaissance and before. I guess that's what they played.
Interesting. Yeah. And she says that she modeled the music of Gored after early Baroque and wrote all the songs in the book. Though only Peaches and Cheese has an actual tune that goes with it. I think Seraphina sings that like early on in the book.
Like, it sounds familiar.
Yeah. And she says that she almost always listens to music while she writes. I feel like I used to listen to music a lot more when I wrote, but I don't as much anymore. And I'm not exactly sure why.
Is it distracting?
I mean...
Or you just stopped?
I don't know if it was a conscious decision to stop. I just, like... I don't know. I think maybe music starts to, like, pull me in a specific direction depending on the tune and feel of the song. And...
Relatable.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not, like, the direction that the story needs to go in, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. Music does have a hold on my emotions and how I'm feeling.
For sure. If I have, like, a song that I know gets me thinking about a certain scene and really works for, like, a certain scene, then I'll put that one on, like, repeat or something while I write that very specific scene. But I can't, like, listen to an endless loop of music anymore.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
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 Are there any books so influential that they changed your life? Which ones? She chose two. Finn Family Moom in Troll by Tove Jansson, which she read when she was 5, apparently. And Who Needs Donuts by Mark Allen Stamati. And she also loved the book a lot as a child.
It taught her that anything, no matter how grotesque or bizarre, is possible in art. Do you have any books that you say would changed your life or were super influential for you?
Honestly, I would say maybe the Satanic Bible.
Yeah, I think you've talked about that before.
I guess Anton LaVey is technically a philosopher.
Is he the guy who wrote the Satanic Bible?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is all about going against the norms of how Christianity, I guess, has influenced Western culture. Basically, it gave me the courage and the self-confidence to confront dad. Because it
Oh.
was through the book that I like realized like, whoa, like I really should not be putting myself in this position of letting this person, you know, treat me terribly. Like even if he is family,
Yeah.
even if he is my dad, like he's not treating me well, I don't have to stand for it.
Hmm.
Right? I feel like that was like a big eye opener for me.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Because I would just feel like so much guilt because, you know, he's my dad, he's family.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, he's like, he's not a nice person.
No.
And it's like all about like, you don't have to go out of your way to be super kind to people when they aren't kind to you, which
Yeah.
is like totally different from how I was raised in the church.
Yeah.
Even though everyone at the church, most people at the church were gossipy.
Pieces of shit.
Oh, it's so hypocritical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still remember content. I'm not saying all churches are like that, but mine was.
Yeah.
Do you?
I've probably said this before, but I think Pendragon by DJ McHale.
And we should definitely get to that book sometime.
Yes. Yes. But that is the story that basically said to me that I can be a writer.
Cool.
And it would be so fascinating to like look back at it and kind of figure out again what it was about that story that or the I think it was the writing more than the story, but
yeah. I remember being like so pleasantly surprised when I finally caved and read them after you've been bugging me for so long to read them.
Was I really bugging you for that long?
Yeah, I didn't want to read them because I judged the cover.
Yeah. Never judge the cover, people.
Never judge the cover.
I'm so guilty of that though. I'll like buy books because the cover looks fucking awesome, and then like there's that one book. Oh, what was that book? It was like Crown of Glass or something like that. Or Throne of Glass. The cover looked fucking awesome, so I bought it and I started reading it and I was like, this is shit.
Nice. I remember buying a book when I was in my teens where the cover looked really cool too. And I read it and I think I couldn't get past like half of it because it was so bad. And I gave it to you afterward.
I think maybe it's a book that I still think about a lot, but I can't exactly say like what about it was influential for me, but I do still think about it a lot, so I'm sure that it does somehow affect my writing or my day-to-day life. Do you remember Jude?
I think. Is it about that kid who goes to prison?
Yeah.
I remember that. I still recall that bits and pieces of that all the time.
Yeah, it's about a kid who is raised by his dad who's physically abusive, and then I forget how, but he gets out of the house and he like goes to live with his mom who's like this very successful
DA
who like they don't really know each other at all, and her like boyfriend or husband like really doesn't like Jude, and spoilers I guess
it's an old book.
It's a really old book. Really doesn't like Jude and like convinces him to like set up this drug deal so his mom can like go like get promoted or go further in her career somehow. But then Jude just ends up going to jail. Going to prison.
Yeah, she sends him to prison. And that wasn't part of the plan. I think actually she was trying to become the DA.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Maybe
it
was
show off like that she has zero
tolerance.
Zero tolerance policy, and she would even send her own son to prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a lot of the story was him in prison and how he got by, and I remember it really impacted me.
Me too. And yeah, like I can't really say what about it was influential for me or what parts of my life or writing it affects, but I definitely still think about it often.
Damn, man, I couldn't even recall the name of that story.
It was called Jude.
Yeah. I remember a book that still kind of haunts me. Unfortunately, I don't remember the title, which makes me really sad because I'd reread it anytime. but it's about this kid who was kidnapped when he was very young and was eventually saved by the police. And he like gave himself a name of one of the missing kids that the police gave him. Like he just chose one because he was the son of the kidnapper. So he had to live with this
Oh.
family, and like his siblings knew it wasn't really him, and kept trying to convince the parents that it wasn't really the stolen son.
Oh.
And then at the end of the story, it turns out it was him, and that he chose the name because it was like subconsciously he recognized it, and he was like with the kidnapper the longest, so he was the most brainwashed.
Oh.
It was really good.
Interesting.
Mhm.
I'm trying to look for Jude on Amazon right now, but I am
Okay.
not having any luck.
Really? It's not around.
Well, I just typed in Jude, so it's giving me stuff like Jude Law movies and
Jude book.
yeah, well, there's a book called Jude, but it's like a Bible study book, so
Oh.
it's showing me a lot of that one.
Is it a youth novel?
I think it was in the YA section. Oh no, now it's just giving me like the Book of Jude. That's like the Bible.
I think it's
Wait. Oh my god, I
YA.
think I might have found it. It.
Jude by Kate
Kate Morgan-Roth.
Morgan Roth.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's it. Kate Morgan Roth.
So if you guys want to read this story, it's Jude by Kate Morgan-Roth, and it stuck with me for over a decade.
Same.
So
Man, I still think back on it.
that's the cover that I remember.
Yeah, right.
Wait. Let me send you this. I'm sure that's the one you're looking at anyway, but this is the one I
definitely
remember. There it is. I sent it to you.
Yep, that's the cover. And we're checking that out
How
from
do
the
I-
library.
It's fucking Kindle edition. Come on, Amazon.
Ugh, they don't do books no more. It kills trees.
Give me the book.
And even click books, and all I get is jewelry.
Man.
Should we move on with the next question?
Yeah, next question.
When did you start writing and why? And she started when she was in 6th grade.
I think that's about when I started.
Her teacher introduced the concept of creative writing, and she loved it. Was that what happened with you? The teachers
Literally
I
exactly
think-
what happened.
Actually, remembering it, I think definitely 6th grade is when I was given my first assignments to write stories. They were cringy as fuck, and I remember them, but
I remember yours as well, and I remember I would read yours, and then I would go and rewrite them the way that I wanted to write it. So I wrote your same stories, but I would like change
Change it.
things here and there.
it's like I have good ideas, but I'm not a writer. Apparently, her teacher left a note under one of her stories. Rachel, you are a real writer! Exclamation.
Aw.
And she believed her.
Aw.
And it's part of her identity ever since.
That's lovely.
That is. It's cute. Teachers changing lives.
Yeah. I don't know if that woman realizes what she did for her, but that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important to remember the influence that you have on children.
Yeah.
Jake has a niece and a nephew who are both kids. They're like 5 and 6, I think.
Oh.
And like, I kind of feel like I'm tiptoeing with everything that I say to them because I do not want to say something that's gonna like fuck them up for life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they remember.
Yeah. And every time I'm with them, I'm like, how can I make this? How can I make their lives better?
How to leave a positive impression.
Yeah.
And that's my struggle with kids. I just, God, how do you even talk to kids?
They terrify me, dude.
And every time Johnny's nephew comes and visits, like, I really don't know what to talk.
Right.
Yeah. How do you talk to kids? Whenever a child starts talking to me, I can feel my brain start to melt, and I'm like, oh my God, can't do this.
Yeah, that's super relatable. But also, I've had a similar experience, which I think I've also probably talked about on the podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember Mrs. MacArthur
Mm-hmm.
from elementary school?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everyone remembers her.
That was my 5th grade teacher.
She was very strict, and people would describe her as mean.
a gatekeeper when it comes to art.
Yeah, she had very specific rules, and like one rule was when you were like drawing, you were not allowed to outline stuff. You had to like color it. She's like, "Do people walk around with outlines?" And like, "No."
Yeah, she hated cartoons. It has to be realistic for her.
Uh-huh. And then she also had this rule that you couldn't say you were done with something. You had to say you were finished. So you couldn't say I'm done. You had to say I'm finished.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like weird things like that. But I remember she is the one who gave me my first creative writing assignment, I believe. And I handed it in, and the next day when we got home from school, Eric told us that she had read it to his class.
Aww.
Yeah, and that they only got halfway through it. So she had to like put it down to dismiss the class, and they were like all wanting her to keep going.
Aww.
Yeah, and that was huge for me. I was like,
yeah.
whoa. People liked my writing. People liked my story.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. I remember the story pretty well too. It was very Chronicles of Narnia inspired.
Oh.
And it was about this kid who was like bullied and hides in a sewer from his bully or something, and then ends up in this magical world where like his name is like backwards and like the whole language is backwards, and he's all like, why is the language backwards? And the like sorcerer or whatever, who's like the ruler of this place, is like, no, your language is backwards.
That's so creative.
Thanks.
God, my stories at that age were so cringy. I had no idea what to write about.
I remember one that you wrote about a kid in a school who like randomly bursts into song in the hallway while waiting for class, and it was very random. And then in class he's like told to go pick up some stuff off a shelf, and then he like knocks some acid into his eyes and blinds himself.
I do not recall that at all.
I recall that because I rewrote it.
That's probably my least cringy story.
I remember that one very specifically. Do you have another example?
I just remember writing dumbass stories about teen girls who are super hot and they get all the boys. Everything I wasn't.
Aww.
Yeah, and like I think back and I feel really bad for my teacher if I went to read that. All of my creative stuff I kept at home. Like the really creative stuff, because I was too embarrassed to share my true self to anyone, so I'd always like do generic things, so they thought that's what people wanted from me.
I see.
I think that lasted for a very long time. I used to get complaints in high school from my teachers for not leaving the box.
Right.
And I wouldn't understand what they were saying, because I don't know, it's like, but I have to stay in the box.
Yeah, when you're raised like being told that, you know, you need to be one way.
Don't be normal.
And if you do anything outside of that, then you get screamed at.
Yeah.
Then yeah. And I think the only reason that I had that willingness to share my creativity is because I was encouraged to be artistic.
Yeah.
Because my dad saw the talent in me at a young age, and so that's what he pushed for me.
Helps you flourish.
We should go to therapy.
I agree. One day we'll do a sibling. We'll get together, the three of us.
That would be so interesting.
Unpackage and feel together.
Maybe when
it is something that should happen. I agree.
Maybe when Mackenzie becomes. They could already probably give us therapy. Honestly,
I would feel far more comfortable with Mackenzie.
You would?
It sounds stranger.
You would feel more comfortable?
Yeah, with strangers I climb up because I feel like it's none of their business. I don't want to unload on them.
But I also think Mackenzie would be biased, so they wouldn't have that. What do you call it? When you don't have bias?
Unbiased?
Yeah, I guess. They wouldn't be able to have that unbiased opinion. They wouldn't be able to kind of look at it from that unbiased perspective.
Yeah, I'm just kind of uncomfortable, like, accidentally getting a therapist who, like, won't believe that our father's a narcissist and try to be like, you should empathize with him. You should try to make another relationship with him and stuff like that. Like no. Like I've
Dude.
seen horror stories on r/ raised by narcissists of people getting the wrong therapist who like try to encourage them to
That's disgusting.
drop their boundaries and like forge a relationship again and reach out and like
That's
no.
disgusting.
That's a big no. You need to like respect the no contact.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that went on a wild tangent.
Yeah, bro, that was a long one.
This is a long episode, 1 hour 38 minutes.
Damn, and so it's just like a goodbye, Seraphina.
Yeah, this was, I guess, just a long goodbye to Seraphina.
Mm-hmm.
Our 4th book, and that is the end of season 4.
Holy moly.
Yep.
So I was pleasantly happy that the book was good.
Mm-hmm. Despite your certain disappointments with the ending in particular.
Well, it's a YA novel.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of expect it.
Yeah, I'm definitely like curious to see what the fuck happens in the second one, because there are certain things that are like very interesting in this one that doesn't really get delved into. So
yeah, have you read the second one?
I have not. I own it, but I haven't read it.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then there's also that like spin-off. There's a spin-off story called Tests on the Road.
Mm-hmm.
That one is takes place in the same story, but it's a spin-off, so different characters and stuff.
Oh,
same world, sorry, not same story.
Interesting.
Yeah, so maybe that's something that we will return to in the future. The sequel's called Shadow Scale, by the way.
Ooh, who is Shadow Scale?
Sounds
that
like
another
Janula.
What?
I don't know. I feel like it has something to do with Janula.
Ooh, the one in the cabin?
Because the whole thing about the end of this book is that she's going looking for the other ones, right?
Yes. Yes. She's the one I'm most curious about.
Yeah. So we'll return to this world in the future.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not in the near future, but definitely in the future. Cool. So any final words? Any goodbyes to Seraphina and Gored and Orma and Lucian? Later, Gator.
Yeah. I like Lucian.
Yeah, Kiggs.
He was very sweet, even though I was looking at him through Seraphina's biased eyes.
Yeah. He's definitely very likable.
Yes.
And
So instantly, he's like treating her like a friend. I like those people. You're like, I'm your friend now when you first meet them.
yeah, they adopt you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like those people.
Agreed. Okay, cool. So this is goodbye to Seraphina. And right now we're going to cut to us announcing our next book, I guess. Yeah?
Yeah?
So now we're going to cut to a previously recorded thing where we announce our next book and do a little something fun. All right? Cool. Hey, let's announce the next book that we're reading. Surprise, surprise, it's Storm of Swords. It's the next Game of Thrones, or A Song of Ice and Fire. And we know y'all are pumped.
I'm pumped.
Because our Game of Thrones episodes have the most listens on our podcast of all our episodes, so we know that you're pumped.
Game of Thrones is so good.
Yep.
Somewhat.
I am excited to get back to it, but definitely probably need a refresh of what happened at the end of Clash of Kings. But we don't have to do that now. We'll do that when we actually start. Okay, so we've announced the book, and now we're going to do our regular draw for which characters we are going to have for summarizing
Sure.
chapters.
Should I draw first for me or
Yeah,
Johnny?
I'm currently not with Jessica right now because COVID. So Johnny will be drawing for me, and Jess will be drawing for herself.
First name for Rayvon is Parenthestar.
Oh shit, we're just going for it? Okay.
Yeah, Johnny just wants to get this through. Yeah, so
Cool.
Johnny drew Bran Stark for you.
Cool. So we each have
Get
5
started.
characters each, right? And then you're gonna do the prologue?
And then there's an epilogue and a prologue.
Okay, you do
Oh,
those
like
ones.
whoever. You want me to do both of them? Okay.
You know that I do all the editing, right?
True.
I shouldn't even do 5 characters. You should do 6 characters, and I should do 4.
Okay, okay.
Oh wait, really?
Yes.
No. Who'd you get? Did you get Danny?
No, I got Jaime Lannister. I was really,
Oh.
really wanting him.
Okay, because this is his first book with character perspective, right?
Yeah. So I
Ooh.
was pretty excited to get to know this person.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm also excited.
Johnny drew Catelyn Stark for you.
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my god. Okay, this is already trash. I already got the 2 most boring characters.
Bran?
I'm sorry, but he is not as interesting as the other ones. Because all of his... Okay, let me break this down for you.
Okay.
All of his is, like, super mystical, like, whatever. Whereas everyone else's is, like, solid, like, takes place in the world. Like, things are actually happening. You know what I mean?
Everything is in Winterfell. Oh, but didn't he just escape Winterfell in the last book?
Yeah, so, I mean, hopefully some shit will actually start going down with him. We'll see. But from my experience with him in the first 2 books, he's probably one of the more boring characters, in my opinion.
Okay. Fair.
But Jess loves Bran. Okay, so I have fucking hell. Okay, Bran and Catelyn, got it.
Yes. I drew, for me, Tyrion Lannister.
Are you... Come on! I get the most boring character, and then the character on my shit list.
Yay.
What is... Okay, who's next? Please give me, like, John. Please.
Give her a good one.
Give me John or Danny. Come on, Johnny.
Another salsa. Salsa.
Did he say salsa?
Yeah. You got salsa, right?
Okay, literally the next most boring character. Can I get Arya or Jon or Daenerys, please?
Don't worry.
Really?
Ooh,
I get Cat and
new
Salsa
guy.
and Bran? Ugh.
I got Samwell Tarly.
Oh.
Right, Snake.
I said that on purpose.
Very
by the way.
interesting.
Okay. I have no idea what his perspective is going to be like. I'm excited for that too.
No, me neither. Me too. Sweet.
Okay, give me someone good.
Oh, you got Davos Seaworth. You're so mad.
Aw.
This is rigged. This is bullshit. I demand a redraw.
Who was this?
Raven.
Oh, well, I got Arya.
No!
You're gonna have like
I'm
one good
so
character.
bummed. At least I get Danny then, right?
Or
Oh, no,
John.
you don't want this
Or
one.
John.
Oh, who's that? You putting it back?
It's Darnay.
Oh, you got Danny.
Oh, I got Danny. Okay.
He was gonna put it back and get another.
What the hell?
And I guess I got Jon Snow. Yep.
All right. Okay,
Oh, man.
so
I got 2.
who are all of yours and all of mine?
So you will be doing Daenerys Targaryen. You're
Mhm.
one good character apparently. Davos Seaworth, Catelyn Stark, Bran Stark, and Sansa Stark.
Jesus Christ.
You got
This
3
is gonna be
Starks.
rough.
And then I got Jon Snow, Samwell Tarly, Tyrion Lannister, Jaime Lannister, Arya Stark, and Chet, steward of the Night's Watch,
Oh.
and Merritt Frey, 9th son of Walder Frey.
Okay, I don't know about those 2, but you got all the good characters. What the fuck?
I don't really care for Sam
Oh, everyone loves Sam.
or Tyrion.
What?
He's like, there's so much shit going on in this chapter.
Okay, you want to trade Tyrion for Bran?
I will. You want him?
I mean, yes, I want to, but is that how we're
Is
gonna
that
do this?
Against the rules?
Yeah. Does that make this whole thing like kind of like why wouldn't we just choose the characters that we want?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, cool. So we have our characters that we'll be summarizing for when we are reading Storm of Swords.
Very nice.
Cool. Join us in the next episode for the first 3 chapters of
Ooh.
A Storm of Swords. Ooh.
That's including the prologue, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So, prologue, chapter 1, and then chapter 2.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll be able to fit them all in the episode. We might be blabbing a lot. So, it depends.
Yeah. We are blabbers.
That tends to be how it goes.
Yep.
Well, thanks for joining us, and come back next time for Storm of Swords.
Yeah.
So goodbye to Seraphina, and hello to Storm of Swords next week. Thank you so much for listening. If you want more of the podcast, please follow us on Instagram. You can follow the podcast at Tigbab Podcast, or you can follow us separately. My handle is Crimby, Jess's is just.egan24. You can also find us on Facebook. Just search Tigbab Podcast or Tea is Good, Books Are Better, and we should show up there. Also, please subscribe to our good friend Baram Barami on YouTube. He's the one who made our jingle, which you heard at the start of this episode, and he's a really cool guy and makes dope stuff, so check him out. And you can also join our Patreon, patreon.com/teaisgoodbooksarebetter. We have a few different tea-themed tiers with fun rewards, such as behind-the-scenes content, outtakes, and mini-episodes in which we force our brother to watch Game of Thrones, which he hates. So you will be getting something in return for your contribution, and you'd also be helping us improve the podcast with better equipment. But we also just appreciate you listening. And please don't forget to share the podcast with your family and your friends. It is the best way for us to grow. And join us next time when I read all the characters I hate and Jess reads all the characters she loves. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.